It's Roger once again, Mud Fossil University, today with a outstanding bit of information from a good friend, Pete, up in Maine. Thank you, Pete. You're always got something. Now, he's talking about Stradivarius, and they came up with the solution. Well, not the solution necessarily, but they came up with an interesting thing about the varnish, the legendary varnish on his instrument. So, Pete, I don't know how we got off on this, but anyway, I started looking into the varnish, and then it ended up leading to cosmetics. I'm telling you, what a world I live in. All right, anyway, the Stradivarius varnish is red iron oxides. Well, we know that is blood. And a lake pigment made of an anthraquinone dye, probably chlorcanil, whatever that is, on an alumina substrate. Well, alumina substrate, I understand too, that is in skin. Now, Bertrand indicates that a very broad array of techniques was an absolute necessity to cope with the analytical challenge of studying such complex micro samples. Now, so I'm thinking about this, and I said, that is mica. Now, let's look at that. I'm telling you, the reason I'm laughing is I just got this from Pete, and within a couple of minutes, I see it's just amazing. Watch this. All right, there's this place that sells mica pigments, and these pigments you can put in paints and varnishes and oils and any way you want. Let me just show you a little blip on it. Hold on a second. Now this gets kind of hilarious, to be honest with you. This is the skin and blood and bodily tissues, and it turns into crystal plates, and I will show you this very well. And it's mica powder. What they do, this company, Sept Leaf Products, and they're in New York somewhere, Park Avenue, New York. Anyway, they make up this ground up mica. They grind it all up, and then they make it into powder, and then you infuse it into different things. Now, here's what it says here. Mica powders are non-tarnishing and universal. You can use them for anything, really, and they don't tarnish, and they stay almost forever. They can be combined with virtually any medium and applied as a paint or glaze, creating a glowing metallic luster, which is the metallic parts of your blood, transition metals. Mica powders may be flash gilded by dusting over a water-based or oil-based gilding adhesive. They have all kinds of products for this. Change the background color, and mica powders take on different hues. The color of the wood changes the hue of the powders of mica. Lessen the amount of powder in the medium, and the surface becomes translucent with an appearance of great depth, because you have a lot of reflectivity. That's what these things do. That's what's in your blood. Below samples are flash gilded on white paper, and then they go through all these different colors. But let me show you what mica really is. All right, that is mica. Now, you say to me, whoa, look at all these little layers. Well, how did it get like that? That's skin. I'm telling you, that is skin. You think you have one layer of skin? You think you got 10 layers of skin? Come on. You got literally a zillion of them. Now, let me show you, and I can prove that too. You see that? Remember, that's mica. All right, these are your layers of skin. Now, I'm going to show you right around the hairs. It's easy to see it best around here. All right, that's a microscopic shot of the hair. Now, you see around this, ring, 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 those are layers of skin. These flake off of you in copious quantities, but when you're dead and these things compact, they turn into layers of mica. And you have all the different skin colors. They're every single different skin color. And let me tell you something, my friends. You think this is, you see this here? Let me show you something. And this is kaolin clay. You see this stuff? Skin ends up being kaolin clay. It's extremely fine clay, and you buy it for your skin. And bentonite and all the different clays, because they're skin. Now watch this. You see that? That's kaolin clay. That's a micro. Sure looks like what we're seeing around that hair. Those are skin colors. Kaolin comes in skin colors. Extremely fine, because it's like in your fine skin. Your grip skin's totally different. A lot of silicone, different stuff like that. But this has this kaolin, and it also has a lot of aluminum in it. Alright? These are hairs. That's kaolin clay. Those are hairs from a giant. They're not some animals digging in the in the kaolin clay. These are the structure of some type of hair. That is the arterial side of the blood, and that is the black side of the blood, which is the used side of the blood, the vein side. It's Crowley Lake, and these are the sticking up parts. So those are not burrows. These are stalks sticking up in the air of hair. These still have little bits of different colors of the blood on them, and that is the kaolin clay. It's not hard. This is Crowley Lake out in California, and they are claiming these are burrows from some kind of burrowing animal. And I contacted the guy that's making these claims. He's a professor out there, taking the kids out and showing them how these burrow. And I said, no, it's not. And of course, there's never been a response. But that I'm confronting these people all over the world that are making these claims. I never get any response, so I don't know whether they're getting my comments or they're just ignoring them. But they're not correct. And this I can stand behind and show. What's because of this? Red color, cosmetic grade, natural micas. Look, this is just, this is just too much. That's blood. Those are all body fluids you're putting on your lips and your eyes and everything. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. I find it kind of funny. And they sparkle and everything. They do. It's blood. It's the crystals of blood. They crystallize together. They turn into these crystal mats. Mica is very, very durable and attractive. Blood is unbelievably tenacious. And it crystallizes and forms these little sheets, and then they break them all up into these fabulous colors. Yes, they are. And there's nothing wrong with them. Everything you eat comes from something that was dead at one time, so don't get too upset about it. These are the things that are just the way they are, but this is what they are, so it's not something that should be avoided and dismissed. That's my only point. So, Mud Fossil University, and if somebody's interested in serious research, I'm really available. I have all of this stuff. And you don't have to do a lot of work, and you could do this all on your own. Let me show you something right now. Everybody thinks, whoa, you're not doing your own research. I don't have to do my own research. I could go on here and click on 100 things in 15 minutes. I could do my own research if I want. Look here. You see this? Let me show you something. I spent a ton of money for a bunch of equipment. Cameras with, megapixel this and that, and all kinds of live video, and I don't even use it anymore. Go right there, and I go click, 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 I'm done. And you can do the same thing. Follow yourself. Don't go following these other people. You don't need to do that. They don't understand yet. I'm telling you right now, you go to anybody, and they have to say, well, you know what, you're putting blood on your face. They're going to say, oh, you're crazy. Well, you're not crazy. They're the one that's crazy. You believe what you've been told. You're the one that's crazy, my friend. You don't start to pay attention to the facts that are put in front of everybody's faces. It's just absolutely amazing. But I don't want to digress into that any longer. All right. I love you all. God bless you. All body fluids will end up turning into crystals. That's the vein and the arteries. And they end up leaking out in these crystal formations. I have them in my own specimens right here in a similar situation. You see that? That's where the vein was. Or the artery. I believe that's a vein. And right in that center, it's not the whole thing, this leaks around it. Exactly identical to what has happened there. Only it's not quite as spectacular. And once again, just to back up my claims, that is identical to that vanadinite, or vanadite, or whatever they call it. That is the same identical structure, and that right there is the vein. The vein is the black side. The artery is this side, and the artery blows out. You see it? It's quite obvious what's going on. Look around the outside edges of it. You'll see there was the vessel walls, and then internally was the actual blood. And if you look at it with a microscope, which I have, they are literally blood cells in there. All right, you see it. I mean, that's nothing that's very hard to see if you look carefully. So that is what we really have here. And these are what will end up in skin. In the very fine skin, they end up as mica. I want to make a correction. When I said bodily fluids will turn into mica, a lot of times they do. But there's certain conditions that are conducive to having that happen. Just like this is a tendon. Now, they don't all turn like that. That's selenite. Well, what happened to this one? As a matter of fact, look at this. This is spectacular. That's the abrupt transition. Isn't that amazing? That's where it turns from tendinous into straight fibril, strappy fibers. Isn't that something? This was sent to me by Geological, a lady from Utah. Very, very nice. I was blown away. She didn't realize it, but when I saw it, I said, it's an abrupt transition. Anyway, so this is the kind of thing that can happen in conditions that are conducive to this happening. It won't happen every time. And like this is a toe. Look at that. Isn't that something? Look at this. Oops. This here is a toe. And that's the toenail on top. That's the guy's callus. And this is that strappy skin on toes and your grip skin. Very, very tough skin. That's the guy's callus right there. Isn't that something? And that's the top of his toe. They turn into that like metally looking stuff. And then there's stripes of metals all in the toes too. In the grip skins, they have metals and a ton of fabric. I have more around here. Here's one that really got kind of spectacular. Here, this one here is a toe. Alright, and that's the end of the toe right here. Let me put a little water on. You see the red and the black? That's the vein in the artery. Hold on. This one, there was gold coming out of the toe. It scratched it all out long ago, right out. It came out of here. But that's where the artery leaked out. Now, this is what is the effect of certain types of fossilization. Now, I can't tell you what this was in, but I can tell you one thing. That is a toe, and that's the red blood that ran into the arterial side, which blew out on the end, I'll show you, and that's the vein side, which clamps off and does not blow out. That's spectacular. Now, this has a callus, too. You see that? That's this guy's callus. And this is the blood. Remember I tell you the blood runs out? See the little crystals and everything? That ran out of the arterial side. See, it came down here. Blub, 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 ran out of there. That's how they work. And that is what the blood turns into garnets. Now, depending upon the type of chemistry that this was in, you'd have red garnets, you can have blue garnets, you can have clear garnets. It's garniferous. Isn't that something? This is a fabulous toe. But I mean, I have so many different variations of these things. And you can too. Just go looking around. They're everywhere.